Come here, baby. Come here. Come show yourself, child, to the camera. Yeah, I'm gonna be a crazy cat lady. Oh, okay. Like, he's happy. You can tell if a cat's happy if their tail literally goes like. But, oh well. I honestly 110% know that I am not ready to film. I am also not going to be hyper spiritual about it and being like, God told me this, to start filming again, to start talking about him again, to start sharing my testimony, all these different things. Absolutely zero. There's zero of that. To be quite honest, when it comes to ministry, when it comes to serving God, it is safe to say that I think I have done everything that I could have done under the sun when it comes to serving God. And I mean, I worked at a church, I went to seminary, I traveled in a singing group, serving, worshiping God, all these different things. And last year, my whole entire world turned upside down, completely and entirely. And if I'm going to be honest, which is something that I have made a commitment about, I don't want to hide. I don't want to keep pretending to be someone who I'm not. I don't want to keep being somebody, projecting spirituality, when in reality I was spiritually dead. And so I guess this is a little nerve-wracking for me because about a year or so ago, I was doing Found in His Said Co. I was posting weekly content about God, about His Word. And honestly, I truly believed in my heart that that was what God wanted me to do. But then I didn't, looking back at it now, that was my soul's cry of a pseudo-faith. It was more like I was trying to prove to everybody, I was so busy striving, trying to prove to everybody that I believed in Jesus, that I had a relationship with Jesus, that God was working in my life. When the reality was, there was nothing. I truly believed up here there was something, but there wasn't anything at all. And so I guess like coming back into this, I know deep in my heart there's a genuine desire to bring an awareness to people who have, especially for people who have grown up in the church, done ministry. I mean, I'm so Christian, I'm a PK. Okay, I'm a PK. Grew up in church, grew up knowing the gospel, all these different things. Had so many professions of faith. I think I had like 3 baptisms, which is wild to me. And it wasn't until July of last year when the Lord actually saved me. And the moment He saved me, for lack of better words, all hell broke loose mentally up here. Truly. I had clinical anxiety, clinical depression. It had gotten to the point where I could not even take care of myself. It got to a point where I wanted to end Eugia. He's a little rascal. It got to a point where I wanted to basically unalive myself. Because I thought in my head, if God was real, and if God says He is the good God that He says He is, and He just saved me like for realsies this time, then why all of this suffering up here? Why all of this coming out to fruition? And for the longest time, I was bitter. I was angry. I was so lost. And I was so confused. And I remember trying to look at every angle, trying to look at every avenue, whether it was mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, all these different things, to find an answer to my why. And before I knew it, it all had to boil down to, where was I? Where was I? And when I sat down and wrote a whole timeline of my life, gosh, I hate being vulnerable. Oh my goodness, a whole timeline of my life. And in the Lord's timing, I am willing to be completely transparent about my upbringing, about what happened to me as a child, about how it completely warped my view of God and built this pseudo-faith of striving. That by the grace of God, He said enough was enough. And He saved me. So I guess my approach to all of this is, it isn't to be a spiritual leader or anything like that. I am so far from that. If there's anyone you need to follow, go follow Jesus. Go follow Jesus. Go get in your Bible. I struggle with that every day, getting in the Word. I said I wasn't going to cry in this video. But I guess I say all of that to say that if you are a believer, and if you are a believer who is struggling with doubt, who is struggling with or wrestling with anxiety, wrestling with depression, wrestling with unbelief, even though you believe by faith that Jesus died on the cross for you, on this side of heaven, we will always be wrestling with that. But where we can have our fullest hope in is the fact that God said on Calvary, it is finished. The verdict does not change. It doesn't. No matter what we go through in this life, the verdict of Calvary does not change. And when God taught me that, it's like a switch took place in my brain. That I was like, God, if you are all powerful and you are who you say that you are, and I wake up with what it is in my brain, this physical tension of anxiety in my brain, and you have the power to take it away, and you do, I have seen you do it for other people's lives, but somehow it's still there in mine. And I know, God, I know I am not lacking in my belief in you. Because I wholeheartedly believe and choose to believe that regardless of what I feel, Jesus is King. Jesus is still on the throne. That even if God doesn't on this side of heaven, oh man, heal the anxiety of my brain. His thoughts are not my thoughts. I can just still trust His. Even if the dreams that I am dreaming for myself, I'm gonna be a girly girl, like being married and having children one day, and all these different things. And trust me, as a girl in her mid-20s, girl, I know a lot of you may say you're still young, but I grew up in a culture where so many people get married young, I went to university in a culture where, a lot of my friends, and God bless them, I'm so happy for them, have gotten married and have families and serving God in church. And then my life is like, not what I expected it to be. And so I guess, this space of vulnerability and authenticity is coming from a heart yearning to share that if you are going through this or something similar, you are not alone. You are not alone. You're not. And I have watched God time and time and time again show up for me. I don't know how to explain it to y'all. I don't know how to explain it to you. I wish I did, but I'm not a psychic. I'm just a human being. And I know we live in a world where society and everybody else and politics and all these different things are like screaming at your face. And I'm not doing this for the applause of men. Absolutely not. And I'm doing this to share and to encourage and to reach out to people who truly believe that no one sees them, and to remind them that you are seen, that you are loved, that you are remembered, that you are cared for, that God has a purpose. I don't know what that is. Don't ask me, because I ain't Jesus. Y'all, I'm not the Father. But I know from his word when you anchor in his word, he says that I have plans for you. Plans to prosper you. My thoughts of you are of peace, child, not of evil, to give you an expected end. Because what God had declared in the end, he already wrote from the beginning. I don't remember the verse exactly, but that was, I think, it was somewhere in the Old Testament. So, yeah. If you want to come along in this journey, I don't know how often I'm going to be posting, but if you want to come along in this journey and you want somebody to walk with you in those questions, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I am not a therapist. I am not a spiritual leader. I am not someone who is a theologian or whatever the case is. I am just a human being experiencing God through his word and seeing him miraculously change things like my heart, who I thought I already knew. So I hope and I pray that this encourages you. And if this is a path that you want to embark on as a believer, it doesn't matter what denomination you're from, but you're wanting to seek God, and you're wanting a safe space of true authenticity, then I invite you along for the journey and for the ride. So yeah, I guess that's where I'll end this. I pray that God will comfort your heart through this video. And I pray that you will remember whose you are. Have a good morning, good night, wherever you are, my friend. And Lord willing, I will see you all on the next video.